Hey everybody, it's good to see you. We are back here together with our friend Amanda Fall. And you may have seen Amanda's face in the news or on the newspaper if you still read such things. But we all know Amanda is our good friend here in the city who is working with the whole question of homelessness here in Fort Wayne.
Correct.
And you have been busy 2 years now?
14 months.
14 months.
But who's counting?
But who's counting? Wow. I thought it was like 2 years. Wow.
No.
14 months. Well, congratulations. I mean,
you.
yes. But we are blessed to have Amanda. We're both blessed to have Amanda as our friend here at Trinity. Me personally, to have her as a friend, but also for the work she's doing here. But just in the last few days, there's big announcements about the new resource center
Yes.
for homelessness. And for the sake of those who may not be reading the newspaper or following the news that closely, what are you up to?
Whew. I'm going to try to condense it into digestible pieces. So we're looking to open a 24/7 homeless resource center. So giving those who are unsheltered and unhoused in our community a safe place that they can access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We will be allowing them to come in, have access to bathrooms, showers, lockers, laundry, but then also have qualified staff on site who can connect them to whatever that next right step is. Because we know homelessness is so complex. And so everyone comes forth with different needs. Some people may need connected to mental health services. Some people may need connected to a shelter. Some people may need substance abuse treatment. And so having them be able to go to one spot where they can find that next right step for them.
Yeah, nice. So, and this is opening up down, actually, I mean, we are almost just on the flip side of Washington Boulevard of where you're going to be, where this is going to be.
Hopefully, yes. So we are looking to acquire 333 East Washington, which for a lot of people in the community remember it as being Waterfield Mortgage at one point in time. So right down there on the corner of Barr and Washington. It's a huge space that will need renovations, most definitely, but gives us that opportunity to have this resource center plus potential for expansion in the future.
Yeah. Maybe one of the things to say right up front is that this does not solve homelessness in Fort Wayne.
No, unfortunately, no community has figured out that silver bullet that can solve everything. I wish it were that easy, but part of my job is identifying gaps in our community, and we saw this as the next thing that needs to happen to be able to address it more successfully. So we need another location where people can go if they aren't currently allowed in some of our current shelters. We know our shelters are full, and we still have people living outdoors, and so they need a place where they can come in. And downtown, we need access to bathrooms.
Oh my gosh.
And nobody likes to talk about bathrooms, but we need access to bathrooms. And so we want that place available 24/7. Some people had suggested day shelter, but we thought it was very important that 24 hours a day, someone can have access to a bathroom.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, crazy.
I don't mind at all talking about bathrooms because I think it is just, I mean,
Dignity.
I mean, I listened to this podcast. We were on the way to, my wife and I were on the way to South Carolina and talking to Malcolm Gladwell, and Malcolm Gladwell was talking about the 1980s in New York City. And one of the big things is that, they saw, public urination as, the failure of human beings. And, by stopping this, that all of a sudden we're going to solve all the problems in New York City, right? And it never dawned on anybody, and Malcolm Gladwell was talking about this, it never dawned on anybody, well, you can't solve that problem unless you have
Bathrooms.
public restrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some neighbors, yes, whose mental facilities are such that they're struggling with that idea. But most of the people we see, even who come by here at Trinity, that's not the problem. I mean, the problem is not
Access.
that. Yeah, the problem is not that I don't want to use a bath, a restroom. There just isn't one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, go figure. Same for showers.
Yeah. Yeah, and we will have laundry available too, so people
Same for
have
laundry.
a way to wash their clothes. Yeah, the things that we take for granted every single day, when you're living unsheltered, you don't have access to that. And so how can you even think about applying for a job or talking to a
for sure.
landlord if you're unkempt, you don't have access to anything, we all prioritize, and basic functions should be our top priority.
Yeah, I mean, yes, just these things that just would seem to be like right there. And I know here in the city, we've struggled with that question about public restrooms, public bathrooms, showers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it does make me wonder why we have such hurdles for that. I mean, I fancy myself a clever guy, but and I can kind of imagine that. But it just feels like that's the, if you don't do anything else, from me sitting here with you, if you do nothing else, public restrooms and showers and laundry would be a massive kind of thing.
The good thing is we're going to do
You're
that.
going to do more of that.
So much more.
You're going to do that more.
So much more.
Yes. One question, because somebody asked me this, that the idea is not that this is going to be permanent shelter for anybody.
So right now, phase
Is that
one
correct?
is the resource center. The resource center will access those basic needs, but then we're also inviting community partners to come in for some of those services, because we know one agency cannot be the be all end all
Correct.
for services. And so the staff of, it is being called the Anchor Resource Center, I should say that. So the staff of the Anchor will be experts in what resources are available in our community, and then developing those housing action plans to help them figure out the next step. But then we're going to bring in community partners. So Blue Jacket is going to come, and they will offer their Blue Jacket Academy there on site.
Oh, no kidding.
So that people will be able to go through that 2-week course, graduate, and then Blue Jacket helps with job placement. So super excited, to have that, knowing that that's coming. The Heart team that does outreach into encampments, they're committed to helping bring those people to the resource center to let them know, because they already have the trust with people that are living unsheltered. So helping to connect them to what we're doing. Parkview Behavioral Health is working with us to make sure that we have access to mental health services that are often needed. And then we're actually working with both Parkview and Lutheran to make sure that we've got access to medical care. So a lot of things are happening, and more partners are sure to come forward, but it's exciting to know that all of this is already in place.
You may know, we've hired people through Blue Jacket who work here at Trinity. We have been a spot for coordinated entry to happen here.
The Heart team.
The Heart team does.
At your meals.
On Thursdays, on Wednesdays, we've been a partner with them, and we repeatedly said, wouldn't it be great to have a spot downtown, like near here, that we're not, that my receptionist is not sending you on 3 buses to get to, like here in downtown, a place for those things to happen.
Yeah. There is a lot of conversation in the community about why downtown, and you bring up the buses, and I think that's an important thing to remember. People keep saying, wherever you build it, the homeless will figure out how to get there. It's not that easy.
No, not necessarily.
One of the biggest problems with the homeless is wound care, and a lot of them have very damaged feet because they're wearing shoes that don't fit, or shoes that are very old, and they are walking as far as they can. So then everyone's like, oh, the buses, let's access the buses. Well, the fact of the matter is all of our nonprofits are struggling for funding to even purchase bus passes.
Oh my gosh, I can tell you stories about that
Exactly.
for the next hour.
And so, how is someone going to have access to that bus when many of us are struggling to even, give one bus pass, much less multiple, so that they can go somewhere.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We could, like I said, we could talk about bus passes for an hour. One of the things that we just figured out that we can't we can't do on a regular basis is provide bus passes. If anybody had bus passes, it is like giving away
It's gold.
$10 bills.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of is like giving away $10 bills? But I mean, yeah, you know, and even when we have those here for people going wherever they're needing to go, and sometimes it is to places that we've said you should go here. You know, it's always with this, if you tell anybody I gave this to you, I will find you and I will beat you with a stick. You know, because you just got, I mean, that's an issue
Yeah.
here in the city.
It absolutely is. So yeah, we were very intentional in placing it downtown. We know that this is where
sure.
you know the highest number of homeless currently are. This is also the community that has voiced the most concerns about how they're being impacted, and so the solution needs to be downtown.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, this is where our neighbors are.
Yeah.
And where we interact with them.
Yeah, and how lucky that we were able to find a space, you know, right
Oh my gosh.
right near the rescue mission that has, you know, 3 hot meals a day every single day that people can access.
Yeah.
It just makes so much sense. I'm so excited that Thomas, the CEO of the rescue mission, is a part of the founding
Yes.
board for the Anchor. You know, we have that shelter experience that's helping guide policy creation, mission creation, and
sure.
I'm just really proud of the work that we're all doing.
For sure. Yeah, you know, one of the things, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like sometimes people are afraid because they don't know. Well, most of the time,
100%.
I mean, that's a theological issue. Most of the time that we're afraid, our fears are usually found in just the things we don't know about.
The unknown, and not only just the unknown of the situation that they're seeing, but unknowing how to help, what does help, you know, and so I think a lot of people freeze when they see the homeless because they just don't know what to do, what to say, what to offer, because hopefully it breaks everyone's heart to see someone living unsheltered. It should, or we're in bigger trouble than I already thought we were.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, you know, I'm downtown all the time. I work downtown. I have for years, and I prefer to walk. And I have found, you know, if we just tell everyone good morning, be them sheltered or unsheltered, because truly, who knows? They typically smile and say good morning back.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Right,
Let's remember we're humans and we long to connect, and so let's be nice.
Yeah. You know, we have, as you know, we've been interacting for a long time with the homeless community. And about 4 years, I think it's coming up on 4 years, when we began our community dinner here that takes place on Thursday. There was always this level of anxiety with people. You know, our volunteers are encouraged to engage in a human-to-human kind of way. But one of the things we found early on is that people were afraid, and so much of that fear is based on I don't know what to say. So and earlier in my time here, people were afraid that somebody was going to ask you for something, and maybe they will. But when we approach everybody as somebody who's going to ask me for something, I mean, I work down here now for almost 14 years. Rarely outside does anybody ever ask me for anything. I mean, it's even when I'm dressed like this. I mean, it is a rare kind of thing. But one of the things we had said to our volunteers early on is that, look, I don't expect you to give anybody money, solve their problem, give them a ride somewhere. I mean, in fact, I would prefer you not to do that. Just come and be yourself.
Yeah.
Be friendly. And I think in 4 years, if we have had a handful of instances, and usually those instances have been, well, at least 3 of those instances have been between the people, the community people, not between us and the community people. Yeah. You know, those instances are, I mean, a handful of times in 4 years.
Yeah. And, you know, if someone does ask for something, it's okay to say,
I can't.
No, I can't, but I care.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And hopefully a year from now, when this place opens, it's okay to say,
hey,
I know.
We know a
that,
place.
That place is open all day, every day,
Yeah.
and they're here specifically to help. And you will be welcomed there. You will be treated with dignity and
Yeah.
kindness.
Do you know how to get there?
Yeah.
It's right down the street. For us, fortunately, it's
Yeah.
right down there.
Exactly.
Not a mile. Just right down there. Yeah. How can we here as a community here? How can we be helpful as this is moving forward?
I feel like I say the same thing every time. One, always educate yourself. If you don't know about what's happening, ask, support. I think as we get a little further down the road, we're going to have volunteer opportunities.
Nice.
We know that that's important. We want the community to see this as a place where not only where people go to get help, but where you are able to give help. And so, I was actually just working today trying to determine some different volunteer opportunities that we can do even prior to opening. And so once we have that solidified, I will absolutely get it to you and
Good.
several other
Good.
churches. And, you are always so helpful. I mean, even, next week you're hosting a meeting so that we can present to many of the churches here in town to help them learn more about it. And just that welcoming that you always give to all of us at the city and to
Wow.
those who are unsheltered in
Thanks.
our community, we're grateful for you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I have, as long as I've been here, I feel like we have a particular obligation. It is our privilege, our obligation, given where we are located, and given the stature of this place, given its location, given the vast amount of resources that we have been entrusted with here, that's our responsibility. It just is, and not that, and I don't mean that with, I say that begrudgingly. It's just, that's, right? This is just who we are. If we were a church our conversation would be different if we were
In the burbs.
in the burbs.
Yeah.
Right? That it just would be because, we are here.
Churches are to serve their community.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you are in the downtown community.
Yeah, our community is downtown. Our neighbors are living without shelter. We have, at least in the whole time I've been here, we've had people who sleep on our steps, people who are here. It has always been our hope, our goal, to treat people humanely.
Yeah.
As long as we have had some funny stories, and we've had some things of, you can't start a little campfire on our back stoop. There are boundaries.
I had a similar situation when I ran the downtown YMCA. Yeah.
I'm not trying to hassle you, but no, really, you can't do that. And you can't unscrew the light bulb, so you think I can't see you. There are parameters for everybody's safety.
Yes.
And for everybody's well-being, but these are
Our
our
neighbors.
people. They're the ones that God put in our midst to be with. So I don't think any of the things that we ever do here are altruistic or heroic. They're just living into our obligation for the blessing of the place.
Yeah.
Because this place, this location, brings innumerable blessings to this parish church and has for the 100 years that it's been located here. So it's really the very least. I think it's the very least we can do for the sake of those who are here. I think I would also say, and anybody who's watching this, and if you are looking for a place to just step your toe in and see that homeless people are not child molesters, homeless people are not people who are out to knife you, homeless people are not anything to be afraid of any more than you and I are anything to be afraid of.
Right.
Although
We do have some bad days.
there may be some moments, but they're just our neighbor. They're just us with a difficult situation that they're trying to live through. If you want to get a little more comfortable with that, come on down here on Thursday night or Wednesday afternoon at lunchtime, and just hang out with our volunteers and navigate that with us. Stand outside with me on Thursday night and chat up the crowd and,
Break bread
Just
with them.
yeah. Just. I mean, you can come. One of our older members, I think Frank is 91 now. I mean, Frank comes down. Somebody gives him a ride down. He comes from Lutheran Life Villages, and he sits here on Thursday night, and he sits at table with just whoever sits down with him. And I don't think Frank has ever met a stranger, but Frank's there chatting up.
I love it.
You know, you can come and, you know, not all of us are as extroverted as Frank is, but
Food makes it easier there.
yeah, I mean, but you can see that, you know, these are just our friends and neighbors. We don't have to be afraid. I know there are some in the city who are afraid. But I think if you could have a chance to know and just be with, you would be far less afraid.
Yeah. And that's so often the reality of any of your fears.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm afraid of water. There's no reason.
I'm sorry. Do you not go to the beach?
I don't know how to swim. It's a problem.
Oh, okay. You worked at the YMCA, for crying out loud.
Oh, I could tell you some stories. I taught swim lessons for a session and taught some kids how to float while I myself don't know how. So.
Wow, that's another conversation. You got to come back for that one.
It's that or cancel swim lessons, and that's the kind of employee I am.
Okay. We got to talk about that sometime. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, sometimes you got to face your fears for the greater good.
Well, and that's it. That is it, right? That is it. That we all, you know, and church is a place where we face those fears together.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to let us know about right now?
There's so much. I just, you know, a lot of times what you hear are the misperceptions or the negativity, but there's so much positive momentum behind this. And there's so much thought and intentionality that has gone into planning this. And so if you have questions, ask. Because we love to share the story, we love to tell what we're doing, we love to share the vision, and I really firmly believe that this is the right thing for our community to do for the next step in addressing homelessness. There's still so much more to do.
Right.
We need
Right.
affordable housing, we need better, you know, living wages.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
there's
yes,
so
yes.
much, but let's give people that first step to accessing help.
Yeah, for sure. And with some sense of somebody in our city cares about, I mean, a little bit of my dignity.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first moved here, Tom Henry was mayor, and loved Mayor Henry to death. He was a true friend to Trinity as well. But he always talked about how this community, as the hallmark of this community, was caring for the people of this community, that the people of this community cared for one another. And I would like to imagine that Mayor Henry, of blessed memory, would be pleased that we're able to do this. You know, it is
A couple of his brothers have told me that, actually, that he would be so proud to see this happening.
Yeah. You know, it's the next step of how do we care for our community, you know, and all of the myriad of groups in this city that care for this community. But I'm thankful that you and parts of the city organizing this process to help us be able to tackle the beginnings of a very, very large
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. And Mayor's determined. Mayor Tucker.
Oh my gosh, that is for sure.
Man,
Yeah.
don't ever question
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
her compassion for the homeless.
Oh my gosh, that is for sure.
Go
Yeah.
watch that press conference from yesterday. Because
Yes, I think she will roll you over.
Yeah.
So
And she's determined.
fortunate.
We're going to make this happen.
yeah, we're very fortunate with all of that. So thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Always. We are always a place. Whenever the skies are dark and you can always come here and tell us about what's going on. Our people are deeply invested in this idea, and we're glad.
Well, I will keep coming back as
Great.
we're moving further down the
Great.
road and keep you informed.
Excellent. Thank you for being, if you want to know a little bit more, let us know. We can plug you in with Amanda and the rest of the team that is working on this, or any of the other questions of how do we navigate this very, very serious question, both That is a question for all of us across our country, but especially here as we live here. And if you'd like to be part of it, let us know. We'll plug you in. So thanks again. Thank you. Thank you for being with us, and we will see you soon.